Miracles. What is a miracle? That's pretty simple. A miracle is an event that defies natural laws, and it can only be accounted for with a supernatural explanation. For instance, the birth of a child. That's something that's wonderful, but it's not a miracle. It's a natural occurrence. But defying the law of gravity and literally walking on water, now that is a miracle. Again, there's nothing miraculous about reviving a person with CPR, but bringing a dead person back to life after he or she has been dead for 4 days, now that is a miracle. Some people claim that all miracles are impossible. Why do they say this? Well, the main reason is because they reject any idea of the supernatural. They don't believe in God. They believe that the material universe, the natural world, is all that there is. And in their minds, there simply can't be anything that would interfere with the natural world because natural laws and matter, they say, are the only things that exist. Once a person denies the existence of God, he's forced to deny miracles, regardless of how good the evidence is, regardless of how solid a foundation the miracle stands based on legitimate, verifiable evidence. If a person believes that the material world is all that there is, that person cannot ever believe in a miracle. But if we can prove that God exists, and we can, then we can show that miracles, they're not only possible, but they're probable. God would want to use supernatural occurrences occasionally to get our attention. Jesus Christ, the most famous miracle worker of all time. What did he use miracles to do? He made the claim that he was God and then was empowered to do miracles to validate and verify that claim. When Peter preached to the Jews and explained to them that they had put Jesus to death, he reminded them that Christ's identity as the Son of God had been proven to them. How? By miracles and wonders and signs which God did through him in your midst, even as you yourselves also know, Peter said to the Jews in the first century. The Jews knew that they had witnessed Christ's miracles almost on a daily basis. Even Jesus' enemies, often they had to admit that Jesus performed things that were miraculous and wonderful. Now, how was that? God used miracles to validate Jesus' claim that Jesus is God. And you see, Jesus performed all kinds of miracles. He performed miracles of physical healing, such as healing a man who was paralyzed. He healed people who were sick. He healed a nobleman's son who had a fever and was sick. He healed 10 lepers. He healed deafness. He caused blind people to see. He caused lame people to walk. In fact, he even went so far as to still a storm, and he could control the waves of the sea and the wind. He also raised people from the dead. He even predicted his own death and rose 3 days after he had died, exactly like he said. In fact, in one instance, Jesus raised a man named Lazarus. Lazarus had been dead and buried for 4 days, and his sisters believed that his body had decayed to the point that it would have had a stench. Yet Christ raised him from the dead with no difficulty at all. It's ironic that many of the leaders of the Jewish community in the first century, they saw Lazarus. He had been dead, and he came back from the grave 4 days after he was buried, and they were able to investigate that claim. Yet instead of believing in Christ, they said that they needed to kill Lazarus because people were believing in Christ because they could see Lazarus. If those people in the first century, they had direct evidence of a miracle right in front of them, and they refused to believe, is it any wonder that people today continue to disbelieve in the miracles of Jesus? This disbelief, it's not caused by a lack of evidence, but a lack of sincerity. You see, unlike some modern day miracles, Jesus' miracles, they weren't performed under controlled conditions. They weren't faked for television cameras. When Jesus healed a person, it wasn't of some nebulous ache that nobody could see. When Jesus healed someone, that person was healed. Miracles certainly can and did happen. And once that fact is established that God exists, miracles fit perfectly into a correct view of the world today. Jesus performed real miracles, and those amazing wonders confirm that He is the Son of God.